Mario, take it away, buddy.
Okay. So every scale that I've ever done, whether it was drop shipping or, more and more shine on, these days, there's a different feel to it each time. There's fundamental concepts that I'll go over here that you can always build on, but the difference between being able to scale and sort of getting stuck and just not getting to the next tier, there's little intricacies every time that are data driven, or what's happening in the algorithms, or what's working in your specific account, how much optimization you have in your account. There's a lot of factors that are consistent, and there's other factors that change. Okay. So fundamentally though, with shine on products, or really any products, there's going to be times that are obviously slower than others, right? And during those times, you want to stick with the biggest possible evergreen products with as much data as you possibly can think of, right? So on the left here, this is a client that I helped run the ads for, and this is one of the slower. You see where the scaling period is. It's in the summer. It's some of the slowest months for shine on products, right? It's in a big niche, one of the main niche. I think this might have been like a love niche product, okay? And you can see it's kind of spotty, right? So we found patterns in this particular product, times of day, days of the week that we ran the ads, and other times which we literally turned them off for a couple of days at a time, or just ran retargeting. And that way we were able to stay pretty much consistently profitable through that time period. And then you see at the end there's another little spike where this product was pretty played out, but we ran a different strategy to just bring in another, 100 or 200K in Q4. But this is basically all the same card. It didn't really have any post-purchase upsells. This was a product that was a great product, but the only reason that it worked for this whole period of time was that we stacked advantages on top of each other. And there's easily 10 or 20 more moves we could have done to have an even bigger run with that. Whereas if you look at the right, and this is just writing, sure, it's a big niche product, but it's a niche that works specifically well in the fourth quarter. And so in this case, it's a matter of finding a winner and just absolutely flooring that thing, and riding the trend, and sort of a rising tide floats all boats situation. Whereas, you got to squeeze as much as possible out of a slow time on a scale. You have some other moves that you can do to just really lean on that momentum, and you got to know your time period, right? So especially in the fourth quarter, you got to get as much money as quickly as possible, and even quicker for something like Mother's Day, Father's Day, and super quick for Valentine's Day. Fourth quarter, you have, if you get a winner early enough on, you have some time to do some optimization, which allows you to have other strategies you can stack on top. When you're in a slower period of time, you've got a lot of time for optimization. You can use time on your side. You can test more and more variations. You don't have to crank out, let's say your target is to do $1 million. You don't have to crank out that whole million in a short period of time, because you're riding the wave. You can, get more and more base hits, and it'll add up to be, a similar revenue. Right?
Hey man, can I ask a question here on these?
Of course.
So this, I guess first the comment, this is kind of that classic scale to Christmas, right? It's like you scale up like literally to the moon as fast as you possibly can. Like you said, you squeeze every ounce of revenue as you possibly can out of Q4. And then usually like, a few days after that shipping cut off, it's kind of a wall because everybody's got their gifts already. My question to you is, what were the margins? Do you recall?
You're looking at anything like 15 to 25% end up take home there.
That's awesome, man. You really got the scaling thing figured out. Just so everybody knows, and I'm interested in your take on this too, Mario. If you can even achieve a 10% margin, it's worth pushing to $1-2 million in revenue or more.
Especially with the low return rate of, especially the message card jewelry. Like the return rate's nothing like that. I think there was a return of like less than $5,000 on that 1.3 mil right there, which is insane. There's nothing like that, right? So a product that's more of a gadget or gizmo, you want a little bit more of a margin in there to cover customer service and returns. But nobody returns a piece of a message card jewelry that their mom or their grandma gave them. It's just not a thing that happens.
Yeah. And it's something I want to say out loud for everybody, because if you are trying to scale, if you have a product that you think is winning and you're sitting on margins that are like 5 or 10%, but you can hold the margin, right? Do not be afraid to push that thing to $1 million, because that 5% is 50 grand profit at $1 million. 10% is 100 grand. I mean, it's a lot of money.
Right. And you could sell the store for probably the same or more, and you're in the game. Now your ad accounts, you know, it's cooked. So the next time you do something in that niche, plus you've stress tested your website, so you can reevaluate, okay, what are the things I could have done to have a higher AOV on that scale? Like, what were the mistakes I made in the beginning? Like, what were the false assumptions, right? Because if you had 5 or 10% margin, chances are you were at less than that in the beginning. You might have been at break even on the first, you know, couple 100K or something like that, right? Or you might have been at more, but you know, regardless, your first massive scale, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars, it really puts you in another level of the game, and opens up other opportunities that you just didn't even realize were there.
Dude, I totally agree with everything you just said. Like, just getting in the game, it's massive for people.
Gary, what Gary's saying in the chat there too, plus the back end too, like the amount of emails you have there and retargeting people that are purchasing, might buy for different events. You know?
Yep, totally. Yeah, so, you know, just a takeaway. I'll move to the next slide.
Sure.
If you can lock in a margin of 5 or 10%, do not be, and you've got it locked in, right, comfortably. Do not be afraid to put the pedal to the metal, because like, it gets you in the game. It cooks up your pixel, right? It makes you look favorable in Facebook's eyes. I mean, there are so many advantages, knock-on advantages to that, even if you're only scaling at 5 or 10%. And Mario knows how to turn that 5 or 10% into 15, 20, or 30%. And he's going to be talking about that a little bit later as well. But all right, Mario, you ready for the next one?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.